Good morning. Welcome to the No Way Jose podcast. This is the Morning Dump. I am your host, Jose Galison. No kitty of the day, but you know what that means. I have a guest for today. I have Jenin and Younes joining me today, which is kind of weirdly serendipitous. She's been all over the place, and I didn't plan it that way, so it just kind of worked out well. Now if you guys just like seeing my hot takes Monday through Friday, usually we try to go around 11 a.m. Eastern. We don't always make it every day. We don't always make it at that time. Or if you just like seeing Mike or the kitties of the day, then be sure to hit that subscribe button and hit that bell for notifications so you can tell when I'm going live. We'll see you in the show.
Beautiful thing right now.
Rise and shine. It's a beautiful day.
I am alright.
About a third of the building has been blown away.
This is the bridge to the white lights.
Our very freedom came under attack in a series of deliberate and deadly terrorist acts.
And at that point, we were taken for another round of questioning, this time related to our allegedly being members of Mossad.
Crazy evil.
Good morning. Welcome to No Way Jose podcast. We have plenty to go through with you guys today. We have Jenin and Younes joining us. We'll be talking the Minnesota Insurrection, Panopticon USA, booing Betar, and more. We'll see if we get all of those in. We have Jenin with us for about an hour. We're going to push our foreign policy section to the ass end of the show today. That way we can maximize our time with Jenin. But it's kind of weird, Jenin. You just did a whirlwind tour. I've actually had quite a good cadre of guests for this show. But I think you're the first Jon Stewart guest I've had, so that's a unique one. I've had quite a few Joe Rogan ones, but that's a first one. That's kudos on that. You kind of
Thank you.
You got quote tweeted by JD Vance, then ended up everywhere. Although you've already been kind of in the mix doing stuff for a while anyway, so this isn't your first rodeo. But still, just kind of weird how things worked out. So pleasure to have you on the show today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. And also, I pronounce my name Jenin, by the way. Just
how was I saying it?
Jenin.
Jenin.
It's fine.
Jenin?
Everybody
Okay.
does that, but because of the spelling. But I just like correct it.
I think I've said it in my head both ways too, so I don't know. Whatever, potato. My bad.
Yeah. No worries.
Yeah. Well, all right. We have plenty to go through. We normally lead the show off with a little bit of kind of a icebreaker type content. Fun, funny gen pop. We're gonna have a little bit of a follow up off of a story we covered on our icebreaker section yesterday, following up on the worker who called Trump a pedophile protector. Apparently, his GoFundMe is currently up to, or at least last I saw, this was 10:30 yesterday a.m. It was up to $330,000. I've also heard murmurs that perhaps his union might actually keep him from getting fired because I guess he did get suspended like right off the jump. For those who don't recall, I don't have the video ready to go, but he at the Ford factory yelled out at Trump, pedophile protector. Trump mouthed "fuck you" like twice, and then gave him the bird, which I will admit it was a pretty hard looking like pose for Trump, and I could see it would be like a cool metal cover, but given the context, not the coolest. So I don't know if you have anything on that, just to kind of start off a little bit of fun. Have you seen that clip, Jenin?
No, I didn't see it actually.
Oh, so I don't know if you've heard tell of or anything. Okay, well maybe I should have had the clip ready.
My algorithm is so I only see certain things. It's so walled off. It's crazy. Like I'll see all my feed right now is stuff about Jonathan Greenblatt from the ADL saying that he's making sure to shut down Americans, bank or whatever. They're keeping track of anti-Semitic Americans or something like that.
Well, all right. Well, let's get into, as I said, you just did the rounds. And so I found I don't know, maybe this would be a good place to start off with. I thought it was funny. This little minute clip we're about to play, I guess Jack Posobiec thinks this means that people are commies or something. Although I'll be honest, my politics differ quite greatly from Jon Stewart. But I will go ahead and let you know, anyone's been following my show knows I've been pretty outraged about all the ICE stuff lately. So like, while I am like kind of typically maybe viewed more along the right, I am very much like, whoa, jackbooted thugs cruising through the streets? Maybe not so much, but let's play this clip and then we'll talk about it.
When I look at that video, I don't see both sides in a dogmatic stance. I see a woman, maybe naive, sitting in a car thinking she has to do something and she's going to block something, and a wildly extreme overreaction to that small act of defiance. And then like, I just, when they say like she was radicalized, I just think, well, there are masked gunmen in her neighborhood who she's read about taking 17-year-old kids and pulling them off the street. That wasn't, it didn't feel like, I know what a terrorist attack looks like.
Yeah, that was not a terrorist attack.
Right.
So you still stand by that? You think she's still not a domestic terrorist, or so? Has anything changed? I mean,
Definitely not.
I do want to make a point, though. I mentioned this is this came to my attention. It showed up in my feed from Pasobic saying the commies are going full mask off, which is like, I don't know. If anything, I feel like you could make an argument from the right here, which is the ironic thing here. So it's kind of gross seeing all of this. But I mean, I guess the thing he has an issue with is the calling it a small act of defiance, the moving of the car, depending on how you take it.
Well, I think when he said small act of defiance, he was talking about her blocking the traffic. That's
fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah, I think because he was sort of, that he was going, and so I don't think he was talking about the driving the car. That's my.
Okay, so I'm giving him too much credit then, I guess.
But I mean, I don't see how anyone could look at that video and think that she was trying to run the cop over. That's the story they initially. I mean, you can think that he was in harm's way and she shouldn't have driven off. That's not my view necessarily. That's obviously not my view, I should say. But and so he had a right to shoot. That's one thing, but I think it's another. And a lot of people who initially said she tried to run him over are backing off, and they're sort of saying, okay, no, it looks like she tried to flee, and that was a really bad move, and she maybe clipped him. But saying she's a domestic terrorist who tried to run him over, I think that's crazy.
Yeah, I'm pretty much on the same page as you. I might even think a little bit more. I consider this probably. I'm no lawyer, but I guess I'd say because murder is is technically a legal term. So like, but yeah. I'd say ethically this is murder. I guess in my head, I mean, I know this person's not going to probably see the inside of a jail cell. But yeah, I know. But I'm also of the opinion.
No, I think so too. I was just saying okay, I can say like reasonable people. There are reasonable people who could say, she shouldn't have done that, and he was in danger, and so it was okay to shoot. I don't agree with that, but I don't think it's like nuts. I think it's nuts to say that video shows she's trying to run him over.
Yeah, I guess I don't really feel like badges grant you extra rights, technically. Like, obviously, I'm of the opinion, like, yeah, you should be prudent. And if someone with guns tries to break into your car, perhaps, you go, okay, what can I do? So nothing happens. It might not have been prudent. But at the end of the day, I don't think badges grant you extra rights. I know legally that's not the case, but ethically it's a very different story in my opinion.
Well,
so, yeah.
I mean, police officers actually are held to a higher standard in these situations than like a regular, because they have been trained and they're supposed to be de-escalating situations like this, not escalating, which is what this officer did. I mean, he chose to create a really bad situation out of what was at worst a minor traffic violation.
Well, now we have Trump, I guess, invoking the Insurrection Act, or at least toying with the idea of it.
Right.
Here's his latest Truth Social. Probably not the latest as much as he does it. I probably shouldn't use that turn of phrase. There's probably been 20 other ones since then. But it says, if the corrupt politicians of Minnesota don't obey the law and stop the professional agitators and insurrections from attacking the patriots of ICE, who are only trying to do their job, I will institute the Insurrection Act, which many presidents have done before me, and quickly put an end to the travesty that is taking place in that once great state. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. What are your thoughts on this? I mean, are we at Insurrection Act? I mean, I don't know. I the 1776 deep inside of me partly is kind of like I almost am rooting for the protesters here in Minneapolis with the way that these people have been acting. So maybe I'm feeding into this intuition or this eventuality possible. But what are your thoughts on the Insurrection Act? What would it need to be to get to this point? I mean, I'm not saying this is your forte in legal in law,
but I know a little bit. I mean, the president does have unilateral authority to invoke the Insurrection Act. The Insurrection Act is actually not one act. It's sort of been it's a bunch of different statutes that have been collapsed. He does have the authority, and it's hard for courts to review it. But normally, it's invoked when a governor asks for it. So, like, the governor's like, I can't keep order from my state. In my state, I need the federal, law enforcement to step in. Or when states aren't enforcing civil rights law. So it was invoked during when certain states in the South especially wouldn't desegregate and stuff. So the federal government came in and basically used military force to force them to desegregate schools and stuff like that. It would be highly unusual, if not unprecedented, to use it when neither of those situations have occurred. The governor certainly doesn't want it. The governor wants, or at least the mayor, the Minnesota state definitely wants these ICE officers out. They want less of the federal government. So I think it's very dangerous to be engaging in this kind of rhetoric. And I don't know, I think he's probably making a political calculation that this is popular with his base and will help in the midterms and help, JD Vance or whoever's the 2028 candidate win. But it's certainly not helping with the political division in this country.
Well, I guess by explaining it a little bit for us, you kind of gave us a perfect little segue into the next tab I had ready for us here. You mentioned that the local officials are the ones that, theoretically they would want to be reached out from. You said the governor, but what we have here is the mayor.
Yeah.
But let's see what he has to say. Check in on his, kind of how he's framing the current situation. So. Because I don't know, he is the mayor. Seems pretty relevant. Whether you have an R or a D next to your name, I don't know. We should at least give a little bit of umbrage to what he has to say. Let's see it.
There's still a lot that we don't know at this time, but what I can tell you for certain is that this is not sustainable. This is an impossible situation that our city is presently being put in. And at the same time, we are trying to find a way forward to keep people safe, to protect our neighbors, to maintain order. And we're in a position right now where we have residents that are asking the very limited number of police officers that we have to fight ICE agents on the street, to stand by their neighbors. We cannot be at a place right now in America where we have two governmental entities that are literally fighting one another. Why are we put in this position? We're put in this position because we have approximately 600 police officers in Minneapolis, far fewer that are able to work at any given time.
All right, well, sounds like they're kicking around the idea of utilizing the cops against ICE, which, frankly, as I said before, these are kind of thugs that are moving in, so it totally makes sense in a certain sense. Hey, people may want, the entity that takes their money for security to, perhaps provide security from the entity that steals their money to provide security. That would, that might be nice. A little bit weird, I think, also. Little commentary to be had with the right here that I know everyone the right wingers typically immigration's like a big issue for them, but you're all about states' rights, so I'm all of the opinion that leave them the hell alone. But I don't know if you have any commentary on all this, because it is a pretty unique situation altogether that we could see like some semblance of a 1776 moment, and ironically coming from the left side of the aisle.
Yeah. I'm with you. I think people always ask what my political philosophy is, and I don't really have like one overarching one, but it's probably federalism. I think we have to come to terms with the fact that we live in a very large, diverse country where people have really different beliefs, and we're not going to agree on a lot. of important issues, and it's been trying to force these things down each other's throats, like abortion, gay marriage, by doing it at the federal level, has been really detrimental. And we need to just recognize that, like, I'm not talking about secession. I don't mean we need to go our separate ways, but things need to be, massive. Yeah. I mean, we're almost at that point. I mean, if Massachusetts wants to have tons of health care and social services and high taxes, that's fine. And Texas wants to have low taxes and no social services, that's fine. Like, I'm very against this stuff being done at the federal level. It's clear it's extremely wasteful and divisive. So I'm actually with you. And I have seen a lot of consistent people on the right who have been against what is happening with ICE and not defending it. But I think for most people in this country, their view is either they like what ICE is doing because they don't like illegal immigration and they hate immigrants. Often there's a lot of animosity there, or they hate ICE and what they're doing, and they, think everybody should be able to be in the country and we should have open borders. And then everything that happens gets viewed through that lens. So that's why not everybody, most people reached conclusions about this shooting before they had even seen the videos. Mm-hmm. Or when they viewed the videos, they had sort of did it with certain bias.
Yeah, no, I would add to the federalism. I would add to that, because a lot of people are like, oh, well, they can just break the law. Yeah, then they shouldn't be subject to federal funds. If you do have federal laws that, individual states, that is something you can hold over their head. I'm all for, like, say, states that want to, hell, look at weed. Look at the state of weed. It's still federally illegal. So, like, similar type thing. But it would be fair. Maybe now it'd be a little bit ridiculous, but say 10, 15 years ago to hold some sort of federal funds over, which they kind of have. Didn't they just change the scheduling recently? And that's what enabled them to have different banking options or something. I think that was a recent move, but that is... Anyways, I'm getting a little bit off track anyways, but, kind of to the point of these, I don't know, I do think it'd be fair to hold federal funds over the heads in that situation if they are breaking federal law, but maybe not send in their goon squad. All right, moving on to maybe give a little bit of credence to this insurrection idea. I haven't looked into this, but I've seen some people, I've just kind of glanced at it through my feed, so I will read it real quick. Apparently, Minneapolis riders are broken into ICE cars. This is coming from my meme, Therefore I Am, so it's super legit. And stole federal documents containing highly sensitive information, including FBI agent identities, phone numbers, emails, judges' names, maps of agent locations, hotel details, and information on where immigrants are being held. So this is supposedly what this is showing. Let's play this clip. Maybe the clip will give a little more context. Let's play this.
In the original shooting that happened here tonight, the ICE agent vehicles that were parked on the street in the shooting, they had to leave their cars behind because they got surrounded by protesters. One of the ICE agent vehicles got broken into, and I found this paperwork. It has a list with FBI operation info. It's got full names of FBI agents, phone numbers, emails. There's maps on where they're staying, where they're holding immigrants. There's hotel names in there. There's judge names. This paperwork has people's full names and their email.
And so we're showing it on the news. Obviously we can't make out any of that, but I don't know. Have you seen anything about this? I've seen Julie Kelly here saying, making the point, which I typically like her takes. So I haven't really formed my take on this yet, but she's saying nothing, and absolutely nothing came even remotely close to this on January 6th. Is infuriating to watch this legit terrorism. All right, I think I'm off this take already. Yeah. Incited by politicians in Minnesota and Washington take place day after day without consequence, and especially since this lawlessness appears to be committed by non-citizens. Now, I don't know. Obviously, for one, I have more questions about what exactly even happened here.
Yeah.
But I know, assuming that this not face value, what do you think? The Reuters breaking in and supposedly getting identifiable information, that does seem to be an angle that's being pushed right now, and I'm very uncomfortable with it. This doxing of federal agents. I had people get mad at me for doxing, Jonathan Ross or whatever, I think his name, Ross, if you don't remember his first name is. But that's been a big thing lately, where there's people acting as if, there's doxing, when it's just no, this is just basic reporting. But anyways, any thoughts on all this?
Yeah. Well, first of all, that's not terrorism. The word terrorism has been thrown. They should, if they're breaking into the cars of ICE officers and getting that information, that's a crime and that's bad behavior, but it's not terrorism. Everything is terrorism now. I really dislike how that word is thrown around. sort of casually. It should really be reserved for very specific situations. But aside from that, I mean, the doxing, I'm of two minds about it. I understand the concerns. On the other hand, part of the problem is that the reason people are doxing these officers is because they're behaving badly. I mean, I know I'm sweeping with a broad brush. I'm not saying every single ICE officer, but because there's a problem and there's broken down trust between the public and law enforcement ICE officers. And that's a problem that should be dealt with in a more measured manner, rather than both sides kind of inflaming the situation, which is what's going on. But I mean, it is First Amendment protected to dox law enforcement officers. And in an ideal world or a better world, it wouldn't really be an issue because, they'd be doing their jobs the right way and people wouldn't be so angry.
Yeah, I mean, if you're worried about reprisal, why are you worried about reprisal if you have nothing to hide?
Yeah, exactly.
A little reversal there. Speaking of aggravating situations, apparently they're dropping green chemical gas. I've seen all sorts of reports about this. I mean, mostly just circulating on Twitter, just kind of like all the other videos going around. But we're getting talks of essentially chemical gas being used of some sort. I mean, there's actually been videos of them using it, but then it seems like just kind of gassing certain areas to clear out. I don't know if there's really. I mean, I just find it kind of weird to be using tear gas in this way. But what is the legality of that? I mean, that seems. I mean, I've seen some, like one kid just recently, like I think got shot in the eye by a paintball, and now he's like permanently blind. Obviously, taking that at face value. So like these less than lethal things, it seems like they're getting more lackadaisical in their use of it when maybe it doesn't need to be used. I mean, what are your thoughts with these sorts of less than lethal measures that kind of end up becoming a nuisance? Essentially, it becomes far more collateral, but like I guess less lethal. So, but still, I'd be pretty pissed if tear gas was wafting through my vents. So
yeah, I mean, they should only be resorting to measures like that in very extreme circumstances. I mean, generally speaking, the standard that federal law enforcement officers are held to is necessary and proper. So it was their conduct necessary and proper to do their jobs. I don't think so. I don't think it's necessary to use tear gas based on what's happening now. And it's just contributing to this environment of I mean, in the end, it's aggravating things. If anybody had any ability to think in long term, in terms of the long term, this is just making things worse, and hostilities are getting more increasing on both sides.
All right, let's watch a video of some of their behavior. I got a couple of them. We watched some yesterday, but here's one where I guess they nab somebody and that doesn't have ID and just takes them anyways, which I guess is a thing they've been doing lately. But let's watch this together. Bear in mind, I don't have any of the context before this. I don't have any of the context after, so we're just in the moment watching this video. So let's watch it together.
So you don't have an ID? Okay, come on.
All right, I think that's basically the sum of the video. It looks like they're about to put her in the paddy wagon. Now, I mean, I see people saying she's saying, hey, do you have IDs? Looks like she's, kind of being like, no, she obviously doesn't give him any. Now, I will say they've talked about doing, far be it for me to try to find excuse cops, not really my style, but could it be something along the lines of, perhaps this was a targeted thing already, so they may already have some sort of visual indication, or is there some legal way that this isn't, I don't know, flagrantly fucked up, I guess, because everyone's kind of making out like they're just taking people off the street with no identification. But I don't know what the rule of law here is like. I know you don't necessarily have to have a papers, please, but if you're someone with like a warrant out for your arrest or something, perhaps the situation can be different. You may not be able to just be like, I'm not going to give you my ID and get out of the situation. So Could that be about what we're seeing, and it's just maybe being a little bit of a misrepresentation, or do you think they're just really nabbing people off the street, not knowing who the hell they are? I mean, there clearly seems to be some cases of that being the case as well. Already,
exactly.
That 17-year-old kid the other day, but thoughts, I guess.
I don't know what happened in this particular situation, and you're absolutely right. There are cases where they clearly are just nabbing people without, and they can go up to people and ask them for identification. I don't think that's good practice, like randomly. I just don't think that's good practice for like creating a trust between the law enforcement and the people. They can, but you don't have to show them, and you can walk away. Don't have to answer or anything. People should know that. So, but you're right. There could have been a warrant or something like that. If there was, they should say that though, because, say we have a warrant, for your, or we have an order of removal, or we have something. This kind of behavior again creates distrust. And so it's just, they don't seem to be trained very well, and they don't seem to be behaving very well. And they're just, it's just creating a more and more fraught atmosphere.
Yeah, it's been like a 60% increase in their force in I think the past year or something like that. Something crazy, which is something ridiculous. I was reading that in a Slate article the other day. It's like basically doubled in size, and they're just kind of willy-nilly taking anybody. All right, let's check out this slightly, I guess, comical yet also a little bit horrifying video. Because it's kind of, it looks like perhaps there's been a lot of illusions, especially with this just grabbing people off the street, even regardless of ID or not. There's kind of bringing them to these black sites of some sort that we don't really know where they're going. There's been lots of allusions to what the hell is going on here? Are we seeing trafficking? I'm like, hell, if we're to assume that is actually happening, that is on its face, it is just human trafficking. Maybe there isn't some untoward angle to it, and they're just just moving people around, but it makes you wonder what's going on here. But here's a video of what's it's a little bit grainy, might be hard to make out, but it is I guess an ICE agent comically falling, and then going into what appears to be to a porta potty with what looks to be a female detainee. So let's watch this.
Oh, y agarraron a alguien. Por...
¿Qué? ¿Por qué?
Agarraron a alguien, llevan a alguien.
¿Cierto? No.
Okay, and I've seen that shared around. I believe that was shared by either Ilhan Umar or somebody was sharing that around, kind of be like, what's going on here? Now, do I know they're sexually doing some sort of weird sex trafficking? I don't know, but it's also, I just said their workforce doubled. I wouldn't be at least surprised if there's some bad apples in there that are, utilizing their power for untoward means. So, any thought on that before? And I have another video kind of in this vein.
Yeah, I can't, I don't want to say specifically in any conclusive way what that video shows, because it's not that clear. But, but yeah, this is what happens when you're not screening well. And I saw something, I didn't, verify it, but I saw someone had written a post about how she applied to ICE. And they basically just accepted her. She had all kinds of problems with her. She had they just didn't even do sort of basic screening. So yeah, of course, if that's what's going, if that's the practice, they're going to end up picking up a lot of bad apples. Most people, I would say, are not cut out to be law enforcement officers. And I don't know if you're familiar with the Stanford prison experiments. They were conducted in the 70s, where they just randomly assigned people prisoner or prison guard, and within 24 hours or something, the prison guard people had become extremely abusive. And it shows how easily people can if they're given power, will just use it over others. And it was they had to end the experiment early because it was getting so bad. So I think most people are prone to abuse their power, and that's why we want to carefully select who, law enforcement officers, and make sure they're people who tend not to do that. I think anybody can become like that. So we also have to have, checks and stuff. And this is just a recipe for disaster, basically.
Well, it's funny you said that, because this is a perfect clip to follow up that. Let's watch this.
This one shames. This is a tragedy in many respects, but people at the Department of Homeland Security, I know there are great people there that come to work every single day and do their jobs and do it admirably. Unfortunately, Mr. Recently married back here is not one of those people. He works for ICE, and he is an auditor for them, a civilian employee. When he was arrested, he said, "I'm ICE boys." Well, you know, unfortunately for him, we locked him up, put him in our jail. He got reappropriated to our jail, and my understanding is he helped send people to send federal authorities. I think he's going to see some federal authorities because I think the feds are going to take this case. So I'm going to close on this, and I'll take questions.
Okay, so what that was someone, an ICE person, got caught up in a sting. It's from Brian Allen on Twitter. It says an employee of ICE was among 16 men arrested in Operation Creep, a Bloomington, Minnesota sting. Oh, even in Minnesota, funny. Targeting adults attempting to solicit sex from someone they believe to be a 17-year-old. Bloomington police say when he was arrested, he reportedly said, "I'm ICE boys." So yeah, they're that's it's right to that point. There you go. He's one of these people. Probably, literally, was one of these people. Now he's facing legal problems. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Culture of impunity seems to be flourishing.
Yeah, I'm ICE boys. All right, let's move into the next segment. Panopticon USA. Can't quite put my finger on it, but this clip right here kind of. Oh, of course, StreamYard pooped out. So give me a second. Let me bring it right back up. But yeah, this seems to be the perfect clip to kind of lead off this discussion, which these kind of are really could be one segment. It's kind of one leads into the other. This is very much me being, hey, rightoids, stop being retarded. Look at all this. But here's Karen Leavitt to kind of start off this segment. So kind of chastising a reporter for, I don't know, just being, I don't know, honest. Let's watch this.
Thanks, Caroline. Earlier, you were just defending ICE agents generally, and earlier on, Secretary Nome spoke to the media, and she said, among other things, that they are doing everything correctly. 32 people died in this entity last year. 170 U.S. citizens were detained by ICE, and Renee Good was shot in the head and killed by an ICE agent. How does that equate to them doing everything correctly?
Why was Renee Good unfortunately and tragically killed?
Are you asking me my opinion? Because an ICE agent acted recklessly and killed her unjustifiably.
Oh, okay. So you're a biased reporter with a left-wing opinion.
What do you want me to do?
Yeah, because you're a left-wing hack. You're not a reporter. You're posing in this room as a journalist, and it's so clear by the premise of your question. And you and the people in the media who have such biases but fake like you're a journalist, you shouldn't even be sitting in that seat. But you're pretending like you're a journalist, but you're a left-wing activist. And the question that you just raised and your answer proves your bias. You should be reporting on the facts. You should be reporting on the cases. Do you have the numbers of how many American citizens were killed at the hands of illegal aliens who ICE is trying to remove from this country? I bet you don't. I bet you didn't even read up on those stories. I bet you never even read about Lake and Riley or Jocelyn Nungray or all of the innocent Americans who were killed at the hands of illegal aliens in this country. And the brave men and women of ICE are doing everything in their power to remove those heinous individuals and make our communities safer. And shame on people like you in the media who have a crooked view and have a biased view and pretend like you're a real honest journalist.
I will say, at least the uppity school marm act goes off a lot easier, comes off a lot better on Karen Leavitt than it does J.D. Vance. It's a little more becoming of her than it is of him, at least. I don't know, maybe fits gender roles a little bit better, at least, but it's still pathetic either way. So I don't know. Any thoughts on this?
That was insane. That's like just insane behavior to be talking to a journalist like this. It's again sort of indicative. It's so much of this is indicative of the fact that this, the government these days, and I'm not like a left, right, Democrat, Republican person. I had major problems with the Biden administration and the Obama administration. Before that, I was kind of too young to be paying attention, but so I would make similar criticisms of them, although it was sort of different style. But this kind of bullying, this disrespect, this is not how government should be relating to the press at all in a democracy and in a civilized society. This is like some kind of dictatorship, sort of belittling a journalist who's asking an honest question. And, she asked him what he thought. And he's like, you're asking what I think. This is what I think. And then she sort of goes off on him. That's just completely nuts. It's nuts.
Yeah, I'd say gaslighting too. I that's what I've felt lately, because I'm someone who typically would fall more in the right, and it feels like the right is like desperately like trying to hold on to this. And I don't know. It feels like the more they fight it, the worse it's going to be. The more the gaslight. Because it's like they're all tied up in this immigration game, and you're like, ironically, even if you are an immigration warrior, you'd think you'd be saying put on the brakes, because if you're following any of the polls, you're making this extremely untenable for anybody in the future. And
that's a really good point.
Yeah. And for all the rightoids concerned about the midterms, and the language is always, oh, they're going to come kill us. You're literally giving them you're literally giving them brown shirts. I mean, not to be too over the top, but you're giving them. I mean, what do you think this becomes? I know it's a tired libertarian trope, but it's like, you can't be in the same breath freaked out that, oh my God, the left is going to come in. And then for one, you're ushering them in with this behavior. And then two, you're giving them the infrastructure to destroy you. So,
and
whatever.
It's, the gaslighting is the right term, because he was making an entirely separate point. He's not saying rapists and murderers should be allowed to stay in the country. I don't know what his views on that are. I don't think most people think that. Even the most far left people I know are not like, yes, let's make sure rapists and murderers stay in the country. It's something different. You can believe that people should be removed if they're here illegally, especially if they've committed violent crimes. That's sort of my view. I don't necessarily think everyone who's here illegally should be removed, because there are people, for instance, who've been here since they were babies or kids, and there are various circumstances like asylum that hasn't been granted or something like that, where they just don't have anywhere to go. But I can get on board with most people who are here illegally should be removed in a targeted manner. And but also, it's not okay to shoot people in the head to accomplish that mission. Those are two things you can believe at the same time.
Mm-hmm. All right, moving on. Let's check out this clip of Kristi Noem. This is what some people are pointing to. I've seen on the timeline, and is kind of confirming the paper please regime being in place. So let's watch it, and then I don't know. Let's see if that comports to what everybody's saying.
Follow up. Why are we seeing Americans being asked on the street to provide proof of citizenship in Minnesota? Is that targeted enforcement, and are you advising Americans to carry proof of citizenship?
In every situation, we're doing targeted enforcement. If we are on a target and doing an operation, there may be individuals surrounding that criminal that we may be asking who they are and why they're there, and having them validate their identity. That's what we've always done, in asking people who they are so that we know who's in those surroundings. And if they are breaking our federal laws, we will detain them as well until we run that process.
It sounds to me like, actually, it is correct. They're basically confirming it. Now, they are saying, the caveat here is that they aren't just, what she's saying, if I'm going to give it good faith, is they're not just willy-nilly going out here door to door, as J.D. Vance himself said, but it is targeted, although I would like to see the deets on that. But what she's making it sound like is those that are around in the, let's say for some reason, I guess you just happen to be in the way, and they decide you're obstructing their investigation, they can request ID. And that sounds like what she's saying. And it sounds to me like she's saying, yes, we will ask you to validate your ID. And so essentially what we were talking about earlier, I guess de facto, yes, she's saying, absolute immunity. We can just take you off the streets. So I don't know. Is there any other way to interpret that? Are there legal mumbo jumbo words that I missed that somehow save her here, or what?
No, I think she's basically admitting it. I mean, presumably, obviously, they're sort of going to judge people based on their appearance, I think. So probably people who look like you and maybe me are not being asked for their identification. But I suspect anybody who looks Hispanic or, is not speaking English is going to be a target for this kind of thing. I don't believe that they're doing targeted enforcement. I think that's why so many people have been ending up in these sweeps who are actually U.S. citizens. Maybe maybe I shouldn't say so many, but some people.
I've heard lots of you never know what you can trust. You never know if there's people full of it. But I mean, I've seen a lot of that myself. Here's a clip from Trump a while ago talking about, setting up the National Guard for response units for riots. Seems a little bit, seems relevant right now. Let's watch.
Secretary Hegseth, sir, a memo circulating on social media details the establishment of a National Guard response force that's going to be trained in crowd control and civil unrest and deployed in all 50 states by April of 2026. Can you verify the authenticity of that memo, and do you have any more information on the operations?
I'm not going to answer particulars on something that may be in the planning process, but we definitely do have multiple layers of National Guard response forces, whether it's in each state, whether it's regionally, whether it's Title 10 active duty, whether it's Washington, D.C. We've got a lot of different ways that constitutionally and legally we can employ Title 10 and Title 32 forces, and we will do so when necessary.
All right, this is from a while ago. I actually remember this press conference a while back, but it seems relevant again today that, they're talking about they have these guardians. I know we were just talking about the Insurrection Act, which I'm pretty sure that's basically what that is anyways, just kind of mobilizing the Guard for these sorts of things, but, they were ready for this a while ago, although this has been a talking point for a while, rolling ICE into these different places and or the Guard in certain areas. We had that D.C. shooting a while ago, but, all of this just seems like a tinderbox waiting to go up. I mean, as I just said, the D.C. shooting, who ironically ended up being some like Afghani from one of their Zero units, and no one sees the irony of it, and that just kind of gets memory hold. But, we could easily end up with a similar type situation where, some glowy-looking stay-behind type of unit guy ends up doing something dangerous to some military members somewhere else, all the same again, and this could tip off into something super big. So, I don't know, any thoughts on this and the idea of them mobilizing the Guard, the fact they've kind of had this stuff ready going for a while? Everyone cheers and goes, hoorah, but these are things you probably should be a little bit concerned about.
Yeah, the hallmark of a free society is like not having this stuff. So yeah, I'm not a fan.
Well, all right, then we got Tom Homan, I guess, trying to take it back to COVID days, and I guess we're doing tattletaling again. So let's watch this over Fox.
This job and these people who want to say follow ICE, and film ICE, you know what? You can protest; they have that right. But when you cross that line, and we've proven it. If you interfere or impede or assault an ICE officer, you will be prosecuted. And one thing I'm pushing for right now, Laura, we're going to create a database. Those people that are arrested for interference, impediment, assault, we're going to make them famous. We're going to put their face on TV. We're going to let their employers in their neighborhoods, in their schools, know who these people are. Because as you said, a lot of these people, they say they're taking time off work to protest. I bet you a lot of them are calling in sick. I bet you a lot of their employers don't know what they're doing. But we're going to make sure everybody knows who they are. We're going to broadcast. They want to broadcast the ICE officer that was nearly killed all over the internet. We're going to broadcast every one of these people we arrest.
All right. Well, they're talking about trying to figure out a way to make you famous for these sort of things. Although I do think in the current paradigm, this may gloriously backfire. I don't know if it would be necessarily as bad as they think it would be, but I don't either way, it's still a creepy impetus, especially with them molding about
It reminds me of what the Zionists do, like stop anti-Semitism and stuff. And for a government official to be talking like that this is nuts. Like this goes beyond anything I've ever seen before. And as you pointed out, like the same people who during COVID were defending protesters and defending dissent. Now, if you dissent, we're going to try to ruin your life. I think you're right that most of these people, their employers are probably not going to fire them for going to a protest. But
yeah, they might be a little irritated, but whatever. Here's Crystal Ball, which you actually just, I think, went on Breaking Points the other day too. So congrats on that as well.
No,
I don't remember who you went on with because it's like they got the
Crystal Ball and Sagar.
It was Crystal and Sagar. Okay, cool.
Yeah, it was yesterday.
Well, here sharing. I haven't checked into this myself, so I don't know how legit it is, but it's from the Washington Post. Breaking news: an employee of El Paso County's Office of the Medical Examiner says it is likely to classify the death of Geraldo Lunes Campos at an ICE detention center as a homicide. A detainee says he witnessed Campos being choked to death by guards. So now we have a death in there purportedly from the guards, although I think we're in like double, wasn't like last year, I think we got up to, I've heard this repeated, like 40 or something. I think we've got 40 deaths in these ICE detention centers, which obviously any death's too much, but it's like I don't really know how to, what for reference that would be, because obviously there's always going to be some amount of deaths in any sort of detention center, but I would say that probably exceeds what's appropriate. So I don't know.
Well,
what do you think?
Do we know that were those like violent deaths, or were they people who might have been sick and died anyway?
Exactly.
I don't know the stats on that. So, but strangulation sounds pretty bad because there's not really like there's no self-defense reason to strangle someone to death.
Yeah, she was coming at me with her car.
Yeah.
The tires spin.
Yeah, I mean,
I had to do it. Your Honor. Well, here's another Felford Again award. Here is Palantir. Apparently, they're working on a tool for immigration and customs enforcement that populates a map with potential deportation targets, brings up a dossier on each person, and provides a confidence score on the person's current address per 404 media. Although I guess, you know what? I guarantee you there's probably conservatives saying this is great. You know, this way we could be super targeted. It would be the most mega, over the top, super duper targeted. But I don't know. I mean, it's added a little freaky for me. I don't know. I've seen
Very
enough of
freaky.
I've seen enough teal
Very
stuff going on behind the scenes that I'm not quite so comfortable. Seems too much of a conservative, and a lot of left-leaning media, surprisingly, is very quiet on the teal front, and it's a little bit freaky, especially since a lot of them are the same characters just clapping like seals about all this immigration nonsense. So I don't know. I mean, obviously, you can't necessarily perfectly connect those two dots, but they seem relevant. So I don't know.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Whenever I see Palantir, I get freaked out. Like they're so creepy. And, they've said that they were going to work with the government to basically centralize information on Americans, which is extremely problematic. I don't trust them at all. And I don't trust the government at all, obviously. So I don't think this is going to be used appropriately. And there's no way to guarantee that.
All right, perfect segue into our last segment on Betar. This is kind of an in-between. You guys can figure out the tie that binds here. We have ADL CEO John Greenblatt saying the organization has analysts working 24/7 surveilling Americans as they label as extremists, including their social media activity, bank accounts, and cryptocurrency transactions. Hi, Jonathan. Glad you're watching. But I know I know you were looking into this. You were sharing about it. I actually saw something too where I think he also recently made a statement too where he's like, "Oh, I know we recently had that tiff with FBI where Cash put on a show that like they're broke up or whatever." But it's like, yeah, but we're really still all up in that bitch. So what are your thoughts? I mean, I don't really feel like that might have been some theater from early Trump administration. Like, oh, we're separating from the ADL. Okay, sure.
Yeah.
But I know what are your thoughts on all this? There's a lot of different ways you can take it.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of it. I'm actually looking at it because it seems like this might be unlawful. I mean, why is the ADL working with the FBI to get information on Americans who have the wrong views about Israel? I mean, we all know what anti-Semitism means. It's just completely insane. And why is he admitting it? It's very odd. Like, that's the amount of impunity these people enjoy, that they can just be like, we're monitoring you. Why does he have access to Americans' bank account information? Like, what is going on? That's just crazy.
All right, let's move into the last segment, Betar. I guess you've been talking mad shit about them lately. First off, I guess explain to my audience what they are. I know they're some sort of Jewish group or something, ironically end up becoming like a Jewish hate group. I mean, if I had to guess, I'd assume they're probably one of these groups drawing poop swastikas somewhere and blaming it on Nazis. But I don't know. Am I correct in my summation of what Betar is? Am I somewhere on the money? What exactly are they? That would be my guess.
They're a Jewish supremacist group that openly endorses violence to accomplish its aims, which is basically getting all the Palestinians out of Israel, the Israel-Palestine area, expanding into Greater Israel, getting Arabs out of those areas, and also endorses violence against people in America or other countries who are protesting on behalf of Palestine or activists on behalf of Palestine. They have enjoyed extreme impunity under the Trump administration, especially. But so like Trump was actually taking deportation, or I should say Rubio is taking deportation targets. Yeah. From them, which is, disturbing to say the least, because these people they're openly endorse violence.
Yeah, they were sending them like straight up lists that I think you could find published on their own websites and stuff. They're just sending the same list over to them. I mean, but yeah, so that's Betar. I guess dropped something on them. They're saying a settlement from New York Attorney General Letitia James has effectively forced Betar US, the New York-based extremist organization, to shut down its nonprofit operations in the state. The agreement bars Betar from investigating or encouraging violence, harassment, or intimidation after investigators found a sustained campaign targeting Arab, Muslim, Palestinian, and Jewish New Yorkers. As part of the settlement, Betar told the AG's office it is dissolving its nonprofit and winding down operations in New York and faces a suspended $50,000 penalty if it violates the terms. So just to recap that, it sounds to me what they're saying is that they've essentially reached a settlement, and the settlement is you won't break the law, they're going to move, and if they break the law, they'll get in trouble. So they basically just had to move.
Yeah. I also don't. So I didn't read the settlement to say they had to move. They just agreed to not conduct unlawful activity in New York, which they already aren't supposed to do. Like, you already have an obligation, and the $50,000 fine is suspended, so they'll probably never pay it. So it's basically nothing. I guess you could say it's a public shaming. And the AG's findings are now before the public, and the AG found that they had taken credit for a stabbing that occurred at a pro-Palestine protest, encouraged their members to bring weapons to protests, including pepper spray and knives. That they had taken credit for beatings that occurred at a protest, and then there, a number of their just absolutely disgusting tweets that are First Amendment protected, but are just astonishing. That they retweeted a list of babies who'd been killed in Gaza and said, "Not enough. We demand more blood." So that's the mentality of these people.
All right, Jenin, it was a pleasure having you. I guess before I let you go, obviously you can drop your plugs, and if there's anything else, like maybe there's some topic that you feel like is really pressing on your mind that you want to talk about or something, let me know. Maybe I'm missing something. I mean, we probably have very different feeds. You missed the hilarious Epstein Trump moment. I'd suggest go looking that up. It feels nice. But just I guess plugs, any final thoughts, whatever, and we'll get you out of here. And I guess we'll get on to foreign policy for the rest of the crew in the chat. We'll say our good mornings and all that. Say hi to all you guys. But any final thoughts, and let people know where they can find you at.
I think you covered all the topics I've been thinking about recently the last few days anyway. So, but I'm on Twitter at JeninYounesEsq. And then my podcast is Previously Prohibited with my co-host Melissa Whitty, who I believe has been on here at Village Crazy Lady with one of the A's missing.
Times.
We're actually probably going to do a live this afternoon, and then and we do Sunday nights usually.
Hell yeah, I'm always in there, or usually in there. I'm typically in there. So it was a pleasure having you on.
Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, I'd be happy to come back sometime if you want.
Hell yeah, it's good to see you crushing out there. Keep making fun of the vice president. I enjoy it.
Thank you.
We'll see you around. You have a good one.
You too.
All right, bye. All right, guys, let's roll through the chat, say some good mornings, all that stuff. I won't go through all of it. I know the chat's probably super duper long right now, but then after that, we'll get into some foreign policy, and then we'll roll out of here. We'll roll out. Let's say good mornings. Good morning, Checo. Good morning. Good morning. This works out. I want to get out of here early. Anyways, I got a kitty. I was actually canceled my my podcast last night with Jacob because I thought I was going to have another cat give birth to it last night. They didn't, but I ended up sleeping in the room with them, and so I just got shit sleep and woke up like 20 times. So I'm tired anyways. Works out. We're doing a short one today, and I gotta go back in there and go sit with the kitty in case she gets birth. She needs to have them suckers sometime soon. But yeah, very, very tired. It was nice having Jenin with us today, though. But we'll go through, say some good mornings, and then we'll get through foreign policy and get out of here. It'll be a pretty short episode today, guys. So. Good morning, Checo. Good morning, Chad Head. Good morning, OG Matzo Balls. Good morning, Comment Mama. Good morning, King David. Saying smash that like button. Yes, please do. Good morning, Tilla. Good morning, good morning. Good morning, Tucker Delay. Good morning, PJR. Good morning, John Doe. Good morning, Lauren Havens. Good morning, good morning. Good morning, Retardo. Good morning, good morning, good morning, William Miller. Good morning, Marna Mac. Good morning, everybody. Who else we got? Anybody else in here? Good morning, Daz. Good to see you here. Good morning, Jeremy. Good morning, good morning. I don't know what you're talking about vocal fry. Good morning. Good morning, Thomas. Good morning, good morning. Let me see. Who else we got? A lot of people on new names in there, or Good morning, JC. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Knife Safety Plus. Says Stanford prison experiments are fake, gay, and Jewish. I've heard that. I don't know. I've heard rumors that like it's like you find out about things that you're like, oh, this is a thing, and then 5 years later, you're like, oh, that thing was an op, and then you're like, oh my god, and then 5 years later, you're like, oh, that op was an op. You're like, okay, whatever. I think that I feel like I've heard the same thing with the Stanford prison experiments. I don't fucking know. I mean, at the very least, it could be used as a turn of phrase of like, see, people in positions of authority will do crazy shit. I don't know. Do we really need to overthink it? Good morning, Moon. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Mega Nerd. Yeah, see, everyone's saying, I thought it was debunked. Maybe. I don't fucking know. Good morning, Alien Big Cat. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Cubertimo. This is hell yeah, I could join ICE and have my detainees mule a large amount of dopes back from me. You could. Yeah, you really could. You actually... Dude, you get a 50K signing bonus. Like, obviously, I'm not advocating it's incredibly evil, but if you are someone perfectly comfortable bobbing and weaving through the black and red markets, red being like, obviously bad things, then it wouldn't be the worst thing for business to join ICE. So, let me see what else we got. Good morning, Marty. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Who else we got? Let's see. I don't know. Let's get up to like a half hour deep, and then we'll move past the chat and get into something else. Maybe I'll go to the bottom of the chat. Check out some of the more recent ones. Good morning, Bug Fights. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Anyone else? Who else we got in here? Good morning, Aggressively Agreeing. Says these automated systems already exist and are already being rolled out. They'd never announce these things to the public, so I'm starting to think these Palantir announcements are a diversion tactic. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's a diversion. Maybe they have way worse things. I mean, whatever it is. I mean, maybe it's just a matter of normalizing it. I would say it's more probably just a matter of normalizing it if I had to make a guess, because that's going to be the angle. It's going to be all these, with that Palantir thing we showed a minute ago, it's going to be all the conservatives go, they said these things are untargeted. Look how mega super duper targeted it is. We have AI telling us who to kidnap and fucking and all that sort of shit. So, this will never be used against us. So, yeah, I'd say it's probably more of a normalization thing if I had to guess. Good morning, Bobo. Good to see you here. Good morning. All right, let's pop to the bottom. Let's get to the newest stuff. Maybe check out the last 5 minutes, see if anybody else new popped in. Good morning, user 12 or user TL2. I'm just kidding. Saying that she was told to get out of the car lawfully. Perhaps she was. That's not my contention. So that's kind of irrelevant whether she was told to get out of the car lawfully. And even then, it was you can say it was lawfully, but then I think you should agree the law is retarded if you feel like that's an appropriate way to, I don't know, try to detain someone. It seemed like it, by its very fruit, it devolved into into what I would consider a murder. Good morning, Cultural Swine. Good morning. Good morning. All right, let's get into foreign policy. All right. Let's get into some foreign policy. Let's check in the latest. Apparently, this is foreign policy, but it seems like we're in goofy Gen Pop news because the first one starting off is apparently Venezuela's Machado says she presented her Nobel Peace Prize to Trump during their meeting. So hilarious. Here's this broad. Apparently, she gave her Nobel Peace Prize to Donald Trump, and apparently he's keeping it. Apparently Nobel Institute has told Machado that she couldn't give her prize, like as if like an official, giving it to him. But she's giving it to him physically. So that's great. She said, I presented the President of the United States the medal, the Nobel Peace Prize, as a recognition for his unique commitment with our freedom. So Trump confirmed later that Machado left it for him, and he said it was for him to keep, and it was an honor to meet her. Said she's a wonderful woman who has been through so much. Maria presented me with her Nobel Peace Prize for the work I have done. Such a wonderful gesture of mutual respect. Thank you, Maria. So Trump finally got his Nobel Peace Prize in the most goofy of ways. Then on the Iran front, apparently President Trump saying, we're not going to attack the country. That's what he told Iran. An Iranian official said on Thursday that Trump informed Iran that he doesn't plan to attack the country and asked Tehran to exercise restraint. So we have this sort of word coming from Iran. So we have these, we're not going to attack. We're not going to attack. Well, on the other hand, though, we have the U.S. surging military assets to the Middle East to prepare for war with Iran after Trump postpones attack. So, the U.S. officials told the paper, the New York Times, that the aircraft carrier USS Abraham Lincoln and some warships from its strike group were on their way to the Middle East from the South China Sea, a roughly week-long trip. The U.S. is also planning to send an array of warplanes to the Middle East, including fighter jets and refueling aircraft and additional air defenses. According to other media reports, the U.S. military's message to Trump amid his threats to bomb Iran is that there weren't enough U.S. assets in the region to face a potential counterattack, which could target the many U.S. bases in the region. U.S. was also reportedly told that U.S. strikes likely wouldn't result in regime change and could lead to a prolonged war. So we're hearing, obviously take all of this with a gigantic, mega, super duper grain of salt. But at least there seems to be confusion, or whether it's legit or perceived. But at the end of the day, these big ships, they do need to kind of be in location for certain things. So, obviously, I guess they don't necessarily have to. But if you are going to try to have some sort of major show of force, you're going to want to have all your pieces in place. So I would say, if I had to guess, far be it for me to predict things, I'd say that there is probably some truth, and they are waiting to at least get their things in place. I don't know. It could be a trick just like the last time. Remember last time we had that whole peace process going on? We had literally Trump messaging out, putting out tweets that we're committed to the peace process or whatever, as the op is occurring. So they are not beyond subterfuge. These are people with no honor whatsoever. Not even in the situations it would benefit you to have honor. Just none whatsoever. Speaking of, the Israeli forces have killed 10 people in Gaza recently. So on Thursday, yesterday, they killed 10. So that's quite the ceasefire we have going on there. There were Israeli strikes on 2 homes. Those killed at least 6 people, including a 16-year-old. There were also bombings that people were injured in. And what else? Also, there was gunfire near Rafah that killed 2 Palestinians. So yep, still a going there, but I don't know. Maybe there's something good around the corner. Who knows? Maybe we could be hopeful that this technocratic committee will save the day. Apparently, they have announced or released some of the names of the new people coming in. I really don't know what to think of this, but I do think it's worthwhile mentioning. But the list of names comprised in the new technocratic committee that will oversee a transition of power in Gaza as part of the ceasefire to end the Israeli genocide has been revealed. According to a list seen by Middle East Eye, the new committee will consist of 15 Palestinians led by Ali Shaf, a former Palestinian deputy minister for planning. The committee will be overseen by Bulgarian former UN Middle East peace coordinator Nikolay Mladenov. The diplomat is reportedly set to serve as the high representative of a Donald Trump-led Board of Peace, that's what they're calling it, tasked with overseeing the implementation of the second phase of the Gaza ceasefire. So I guess they're getting ready for their next phase. Others in the committee include Omar Shamali. It doesn't seem like they ever got into the first one. Overseeing communications, Abdul Karim Ashur. Overseeing agriculture, Aid Yaghi. Responsible for health, and Aid Abu Ramadan for industry and economy. Jabir Al-Dawar will oversee education. Bashir Al-Reyes will deal with finance. Ali Barhoum will oversee water and municipalities. Hana Tarzi will be relief and solidarity. And Adnan Salam Abu Warda will oversee the judiciary. These names are fun to say. Rami oh, damn it, right? Then one got me. Rami Tafiq, there you go. Hellis will handle endowments and religious affairs. Osama Hassan Al-Sadawi. Man, they're getting tricky. I was getting a little too cocky. I was nailing them all. They'll oversee housing and public works, and Samira Hellis will cover energy and transportation. Meanwhile, Sami Nasman, a retired senior Palestinian Authority security officer and longtime critic of Hamas, will become the Minister of Security. So it's essentially the cabinet occurring here. In 2015, a Gaza court sentenced Nasman in absentia to 15 years in prison for inciting chaos and allegedly orchestrating assassination attempts against Hamas leaders Al-Sharq Assat reported. Egypt said earlier on Wednesday the majority of Palestinian factions had reached an agreement to support a technocratic committee to govern Gaza, opening the path for a second phase of Trump's Gaza ceasefire plan. Now, I know they did say that one guy was trying to do assassination attempts against Hamas, but it seems like Hamas is actually pretty favorable to this. So let's cover their take on it. So, I mean, maybe there's some hope with this. Hamas and Islamic Jihad said they agreed to support the mediators' efforts in forming the Palestinian National Transitional Committee to administer the Gaza Strip while providing the appropriate environment for it to begin its work. Al-Arabi Al-Jadid earlier reported that committee members were instructed to keep their appointments confidential so that Trump could formally announce the initiative. We were told that President Donald Trump should be the first to announce the formation of the committee, one member told the Doha-based news outlet. The committee is expected to include figures from Gaza who have no affiliation with any Palestinian political factions in the besieged territory. Sources told Al-Arabi that Egypt is likely to host the committee's first meeting and is coordinating with Israeli authorities to allow some Gaza-based members to attend. At least 4 members have remained in Egypt since the war began. A senior Hamas source said the group has no objection to the names proposed for the committee. A ceasefire aimed at ending the genocide in Gaza came into effect in October, but progress to the second phase of the deal has been complicated by continued Israeli attacks on the besieged territory. Israel's killed more than 71,400 Palestinians and wounded at least 171,000 others since 7 October, according to the Palestinian Health Ministry. Since the ceasefire in October, nearly 450 Palestinians have been killed, border crossings have remained largely closed, and restrictions remain on the entry of humanitarian aid. So, anyways, the last little section there kind of goes into how Hamas is actually seemingly amenable to this, so who knows, maybe this might not be so bad. I kind of assumed when I saw, oh no, we have the committee, they're releasing the names, I kind of assumed that there was going to be some sort of hubbub of like, these were certain characters that were just unacceptable for whatever reason, but no, seems to be... I haven't really seen much. I haven't seen any reporting saying otherwise, so I don't know. We'll keep you apprised of anything else in this. We also got more airstrikes over in Somalia. So yeah, more death and destruction to Somalia. Because why not? Why can't they get these hands? I mean, everyone else is getting them, so I guess may as well let them get some more. So they said one strike launched on January 11th targeted the ISIS affiliates in Somalia's northeastern Puntland region, about 16 miles southeast of the Gulf of Aden port city of Bosaso. No other info about the attack was provided, so just more ISIS attacks. And last one for today. I wish I had brought this up with Jenin in here, because I meant to bring this up, but my bad, because it seemed like it'd be perfectly up her alley. Apparently, the U.S. court, this is from Al Jazeera, says U.S. court hands Trump victory against pro-Palestine activist Mahmoud Khalil. So it looks like he may actually be able to get rearrested. We were covering this back in the day. He was one of the guys who dared to say no things about Israel that were completely reasonable while being in college and having a visa. And they go, fuck you, we're deporting you, despite the fact he has a wife and kid here. Well, wasn't a kid at the time. He actually missed the birth of his child for all this. And he ended up getting off. And so, kind of like, hey, obviously, not great. The state detained him, but, in a certain sense, happy ending. Well, no, looks like that's not the case anymore. So let's read the details of this. This is an appeals court panel in the U.S. has moved to dismiss a petition by Palestinian activist Mahmoud Khalil challenging his detention and deportation, handing a boost to the administration of Trump. In a 2-1 ruling on Thursday, the judges concluded that the federal court that ordered Khalil's release last year lacked jurisdiction over the matter. The ruling potentially enables the rearrest of Khalil, who missed the birth of his first child while he was detained by immigration authorities last year, but the order does not go into effect immediately, and Khalil has signaled that he plans to appeal. Today's ruling is deeply disappointing, but it does not break our resolve, Khalil said in a statement. The door may have been open for potential re-detainment down the line, but has not closed our commitment to Palestine and to justice and accountability. I will continue to fight through every legal avenue and with every ounce of determination until my rights and the rights of others like me are fully protected. The Palestinian activist born in Syria and holding Algerian citizenship is a lawful permanent resident and married to a U.S. citizen. He was pursuing a graduate degree in Columbia in New York, and he's one of the dozens of foreign students the Trump administration has targeted for deportations over their criticism of Israel. So obviously this violates speech rights, although some people would say because he's a visa, he doesn't have any speech rights, which either way, you'd think you'd want to at least appeal to the spirit of that and go, yo, I don't know, maybe we should just be kicking people out of the country for saying Israel kills people when they're killing people. But hey, who am I? What do I know? I'm just a big dumb. I didn't realize this. When did this drop down? I swore I had this stuff up as a visual aid before. Whatever. I mean, I guess you didn't see the articles. If not, my bad. Let's roll through the chat one last time, and then I have an outro for you guys. I have a cute outro for today, a little wholesome activity, and then we'll get out of here. So whatever. A good day to turn in early. Yeah, here's Bobo says, how about we not stand in front of a car and move off to the side so we can't get hit? Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, his north side says, if that officer had been bitten by that rabid lesbo, who knows what diseases he would have contracted, right? Bobo's out of here. Says, I gotta go take care. Smash that like button. Yes, please. People hit that like button, everybody. Knife Safety Plus. Lindsey Graham has the bluest balls in the history of balls. Oh yeah, I should have brought up that clip. There's a pretty funny clip out there of Lindsey Graham looking utterly devastated, like his wife cheated on him. Although I guess he wouldn't care about that. But I don't think of a really sad thing happening to him, like him not getting war. So yeah, it's a pretty funny clip of him announcing kind of like, well, I don't know, maybe we'll go to war later. But I don't think we're doing more right now. Yeah, that's the energy. Go check it out. It's a pretty funny one. Aggressively Green says, are those 15 Palestinians the only ones left? Yeah. Q-Bert says, while I would like for homosexuals to be rounded up and marched into an active volcano, I do believe that the lesbian shooting was fake, just like that nigga Kirk. Yeah, the it's all fake is a pretty funny angle. It is, because yeah, I mean, there was like the people pointing to, if you look at the video, there's a literal T-Rex that's like standing on a car in the back, like for real. Like if you haven't seen it, I don't know where you need to look. But like I don't know, maybe slow down, look in the background. But if you look at the background, this is one of those things you would never notice until someone shows you the picture, and you're like, holy shit! So it's almost like one of those like what is it? Aren't those like that one video where they're like, has a guy dancing in a monkey suit, and they're like. And like they have you watch the video and you're not aware of it, and then you're like, there's a guy in a monkey suit or something, and as soon as you see the guy in the monkey suit, you're like, holy shit! It's super. It's the same thing with the T-Rex in it, and there's like a shark as well too, like a weird gigantic sculpture. Although I guess a lot of people are going, oh, that's fake because of that. There's some other things I think that they pointed to why it's fake. That was the big one though, just like kind of like almost like it's a reality teasing you. Well, then I guess come to find out, I say that, I never really looked into it deeply, but I guess what I saw a lot of people online saying was that apparently that is like some local person who has like weird things like that in their yard, which, I mean, I don't know. I guess we've all kind of had, there's that weird place somewhere where they have art sculptures or, inflatable floaty hand people or whatever weird thing. There's always that one weird property. It did seem out of place. It seemed like a kind of a semi-nicer neighborhood, so like it did seem out of place. But what do I know? I mean, who knows? Maybe it is the elites toying with us. So I have no idea. Rise to Liberty says it looks like his boyfriend cheated on him. Yeah. Bugfight says, wait, does Lindsey Graham have a wife? Yeah, that's a good point. I don't think he actually has a wife, which makes this even more nuts. Oh, shit. Rise to Liberty says the fact that it happened on the 33 block and all the addresses start with 33. I don't know, dude. That is pretty wild. I did not know that. I didn't know. I only knew the T-Rex thing, which that on all by itself, you're like, that's weird. So yeah, the dinosaur is protecting his property, obviously, bro. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Stay away, coppers. All right, guys, let's get out of here. For those who want to support what I'm doing, leave a like, share, subscribe, comment, leave a 5-star review on iTunes or Spotify. I actually have an episode premiering on YouTube here in a bit, so stick around for that, about a half hour, or just pop over there, leave a like, and then bounce. I don't care. You should check it out, though. I have Ace and Joe on. We got some theory bros, is I guess what you can call us, and we kind of talked a lot about the stuff that we talked about a lot about today. So I don't know, maybe I'll get all this stuff out of my system enough. I guess maybe once people are done raging at me for it, once I get it out of my system, then maybe we'll stop. But yes, so I have that dropping soon. Check that out. But if you want to support what I'm doing, leave a like, share, subscribe, comment, leave a 5-star review on iTunes or Spotify. You can follow the show on Twitter at TowerGangJose. And then also, if you want to support the show in the best way you can do that with money over at patreon.com/NoWayJose2020. There's a QR code right here. Oh, I'm messing up with my fingers. Oh, there we go. Whoop, whoop. There you go. QR code right there. You can go to that or patreon.com/NoWayJose2020. The lowest level is $2. That gives you access to early episodes. I do about 1 to 2 of those per week. And I'll try to keep up 4 behind the paywall on any given time. You also get access to the ad-free RSS feed. You get access to Telegram, and you get access to pre-show, post-show, and video calls from me and Austin's weekly live call-in show, Already Dead, which is on Tuesdays at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. I also give a big shout-out to the sponsors. It's a big thank you for everything they do. That's the highest level of my Patreon. I have my previous co-host and Tower Gang at Learn to Toad, also at Brigade D's, at ZOVRCK, at _Vince Tim Tuttle, at John Klebold, big fan of the show Torme, at Wayne Teckless, One Hair Car for Kids, No Free Lunch, Jack, Mark Vestibule, and Jacob Winograd of the Biblical Anarchy Podcast. With that, guys, enjoy this little outro. This is more on the adorable side, something cute. And I know someone's probably going to come in here and ruin it and be like, this is all AI, Jose. You're so stupid. This is so dumb. I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. I choose to believe. I've seen these cute videos before, and then it's like, oh, it's AI. I don't fucking care. It's adorable. Apparently, a big fight broke out in Poland's zoo. So here's an adorable little deer creature thingy and a rhino playing. So enjoy this. It's adorable. It's adorable. Look at him. He's got the zoomies. Oh my goodness. I want a pet rhino. Alright, we'll see y'all in the next one. I don't know, maybe Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We'll see. Love y'all. Bye-bye. Subscribe. Do all the things. We're